When Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement just before the 2022 summer break, Fernando Alonso's quick decision to jump ship didn't catch anyone in the F1 paddock off guard. Alpine had made bold claims about their 5-year plan to fight for victories and championships before Alonso's arrival, but the lack of tangible progress was a thorn in the side of the fiercely competitive Spaniard. So, when a better door opened, he didn't hesitate to walk through it. Aston Martin welcomed Alonso with open arms, and the move paid off almost immediately. In his debut season with the team, they became the strongest challenger behind the dominant Red Bull. Alonso's experience and tenacity earned him 6 podium finishes in the first 8 races of the 2023 season, proving that even at this stage of his career, he's far from just filling up the grid. After the dust settled at the Canadian Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso found himself sitting comfortably in 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship, trailing only the Red Bull pair. With 117 points to his name, he had edged out Lewis Hamilton by 15 points and left Carlos Sainz trailing far behind, holding a staggering 49-point lead over the Ferrari driver in 5th. It was a statement. Alonso was far from done, and despite the dominance of Red Bull, he was making sure the fight for the top spots wasn't just a 2-horse race. But that high point marked the beginning of a steep decline for Aston Martin. Their upgrades seemed to miss the mark, and whispers about a secret FIA ban on the team's flexible front wing didn't help matters. As the season wore on, Alonso's strong start unravelled, and he steadily slid down the standings in the final 2/3 of the year. Though Alonso still managed his best season finish since his Ferrari days, it wasn't quite the fairy tale ending. He barely clung to 4th place, finishing just 6 points ahead of Carlos Sainz, who was rapidly closing in from 6th. This year, things have gone from bad to worse for the British Racing Green squad. The cars have simply been off the pace, and Fernando's best showing so far has been a 5th place finish in Saudi Arabia during just the 2nd race weekend. Lance Stroll has played his usual supporting role as Alonso's teammate, but both drivers are languishing further down the championship table, with Stroll in P10 and Alonso in P9. After the recent Italian Grand Prix, Alonso didn't hide his frustration, telling the media, "I think as a team we could accept not being in the top 4 battle. They are top teams and they are well in front of us." His words were a clear acknowledgement that the team wasn't where they wanted to be, but it was also a sobering reflection on just how far off the mark they've fallen. When asked about potential upgrades for the rest of the season, Alonso's response was blunt: "I don't think so. I don't believe there's much planned. It's more about us figuring out the weak points of the car and where we need to improve. To be honest, I think most of that work will be done by 2025. I don't expect any significant jumps in 2024. Lawrence Stroll, the team's owner, has poured a staggering $200 million into new facilities for Aston Martin, including a cutting-edge wind tunnel and state-of-the-art simulation tools. But so far, these investments have yet to translate into on-track performance. And if Alonso needed more bad news, the team's reserve driver, Stoffel Vandoorne, has some that's sure to add to his frustration. Speaking to Formula One, Vandoorne painted a realistic picture of the current situation. "I've been here since the start of last year, and there are a lot of changes happening within the team, not just in infrastructure, but with a lot of new personnel as well. The new wind tunnel is almost finished and should be up and running this year. Everything is being laid out for a promising future, but we all know Formula One doesn't change overnight. Sometimes you have to endure a tough period before seeing the results. I think that's where we are right now. It's a phase that any team goes through, but one that's particularly frustrating for a veteran like Alonso, who's not known for his patience when it comes to waiting for results." Alonso's hopes for a quick turnaround may be fading, with Stoffel Vandoorne now suggesting it could be 2026 before Aston Martin's cars can truly compete at the sharp end of the grid. That's a bitter pill for the Spaniard, who thrives on immediate results, not prolonged waiting games. However, there's a glimmer of excitement swirling in the paddock. Insider reports suggest that Adrian Newey, the legendary design genius behind many of Red Bull's successes, is set to join Aston Martin once he wraps up his work on the Red Bull RB17 hypercar, no later than the end of Q1 next year. Newey is expected to make the jump. A recent Red Bull statement seems to support these rumours, adding more fuel to the fire. Newey's potential move is no small deal, quite literally. Rumour has it that Aston Martin will be paying him the kind of salary usually reserved for top drivers, a jaw-dropping $40 million per year. That's quadruple his current contract with Red Bull, where he works just 180 days a year and enjoys his time off in his South African getaway. Clearly, Aston Martin is pulling out all the stops to secure F1's most sought-after brain. In other developments, Aston Martin provided an update on their infrastructure overhaul. Building 1 was completed in the early summer of last last year, and now buildings 2 and 3 are nearing readiness. The team's transformation is slowly but surely taking shape. But for Alonso, 2026 probably feels like a lifetime away. As for Adrian Newey, his move to Aston Martin is more than just a career shift. It's a chance to realise an ambition that has long eluded him. Before rumours about his departure from Red Bull surfaced, Newey shared a personal reflection on his career. "I've been lucky to work with some incredible drivers. Their personalities may differ wildly, especially in the little things like how they handle debriefs. But the common thread is their ability to drive the car while keeping plenty of mental capacity in reserve." One driver, however, slipped through Newey's fingers. "Fernando Alonso is someone I always wanted to work with," he admitted. "It's a regret that it never came to pass, because I have immense respect for Fernando." Now, with Newey possibly joining Aston Martin, that unfulfilled wish could become a reality. Imagine the impact of Alonso's raw talent combined with Newey's technical mastery, a potential partnership that could shift the balance of power in F1. Alonso's potential reunion with Adrian Newey hasn't gone unnoticed, particularly by Lewis Hamilton, who has long expressed admiration for Newey's engineering brilliance. After the news broke about Newey's exit from Red Bull, the 7-time world champion made it clear that he had hoped to see Newey join forces with Ferrari. "I think he'd be an incredible addition to Ferrari," Hamilton said. "They already have a strong team and have been making massive strides forward. This year's car is faster, but yeah, it would be a privilege to work with him." Hamilton's words carried more than just admiration. They hinted at a personal desire to see Newey transform Ferrari's fortunes. While Hamilton stayed tight-lipped when asked if he had spoken to Ferrari chairman John Elkann about signing Newey, he didn't exactly dismiss the idea. "That's private conversation stuff," he remarked. "But if I were to make a list of people I'd love to work with, Adrian would absolutely be at the top. Who knows? We'll see." However, with Newey set to join Aston Martin in April next year, any impact on the team's 2025 car is unlikely. The true game changer might come with the sweeping regulation changes slated for 2026. For Fernando Alonso, this could represent his last golden opportunity to secure that elusive third world championship. But that will hinge on whether Aston Martin offers him an extension beyond his current contract, which runs only until the end of 2025. Time is ticking, and Alonso's window of opportunity may be narrowing, but if anyone can pull off a final, glorious comeback, it's him. Will Fernando Alonso stick around with Aston Martin until 2026 to chase success, or do you think he'll explore other opportunities or even consider retirement before then? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.